What is the strongest kind of love? Is it the love between friends? Or the love between husband and wife? Many people believe the strongest love in the world is a mother's love. A mother can stay awake all night for her child. She can hide her own pain just to see her child smile. Today's story is about a young man named Ethan and the sacrifice he never noticed until it was almost too late. Let's begin. Ethan was 22 years old. He had just graduated from university. He had found his first job in a busy city, for hours away from his hometown. His mother, Grace, was very proud of him. She had worked hard for many years. After Ethan's father died when Ethan was only 8 years old, Grace raised him alone. She worked in a small bakery every morning. In the evenings, she cleaned offices. She rarely bought new clothes for herself. Instead, she saved every extra pound for Ethan's education. But Ethan never fully understood how much she had sacrificed. On the morning Ethan left home, Grace woke up before sunrise. She prepared his favorite breakfast: fresh pancakes with strawberries, just like she had done on every birthday since he was a little boy. During breakfast, Grace smiled. "You'll do great." Ethan smiled back. "I'll call every week." Grace nodded. "I'll be waiting." Before Ethan got into the bus, Grace handed him a small paper bag. "I packed some sandwiches. You'll probably get hungry." Ethan laughed. "Mum, I'm 22. I know. But you'll always be my little boy." They hugged each other tightly. As the bus drove away, Ethan looked through the window. His mother was still standing there, smiling and waving. He did not know that she was crying after the bus disappeared. The first few months in the city were exciting. Everything was new. Ethan enjoyed his job. He made new friends. He rented a small apartment near his office. At first, he called his mother every Sunday. They talked for nearly an hour. Grace always asked the same questions. "Are you eating well? Are you sleeping enough? Are you happy?" Ethan always answered, "Yes, Mum. I'm fine." As the months passed, life became busier. Sometimes Ethan worked late. Sometimes he went out with friends. One Sunday, he forgot to call. The next week, he remembered. But it was already midnight. "I'll call tomorrow," he thought. Tomorrow became next week. Next week became next month. Soon, they spoke only once every few weeks. Grace never complained. Whenever Ethan called, she sounded cheerful. "I'm glad to hear your voice. Don't worry about me. I'm doing well." One afternoon, Ethan received a message. "Don't forget my birthday next Saturday. Love, Mum." Ethan smiled. "Of course I won't forget." But Saturday became the busiest day of the month. A large project was due at work. Everyone stayed late. When Ethan finally reached home, he looked at his phone. There were 3 missed calls from Mum. His heart sank. He looked at the date. Her birthday. He had forgotten. Quickly, he called back. No answer. He tried again. Still no answer. He sent a message. I'm so sorry, Mum. Happy birthday. I'll call tomorrow. The next morning, Grace replied. Don't worry, my dear. I know you're busy. Take care of yourself. Love always. Ethan smiled with relief. He believed everything was fine. He had no idea. His mother had spent her birthday alone, waiting beside the telephone. Almost 6 months later, Ethan was preparing for an important meeting. His phone rang. It was Mrs. Wilson, his mother's neighbor. Ethan answered quickly. Hello? Mrs. Wilson sounded worried. Ethan, your mother fainted this morning. They've taken her to the hospital. For a moment, Ethan could not speak. What happened? The doctor says she's very tired. And she's been working too much. Mrs. Wilson paused. She didn't want to tell you. She said you were busy. Ethan felt his chest tighten. Without another word, he left the office. He caught the first train home. The journey felt longer than ever before. He looked out of the window, remembering all the times he had ignored his mother's calls. All the birthdays. All the promises. All the Sundays he said, "I'll call later." His eyes filled with tears. When Ethan finally arrived at the hospital, he stopped outside his mother's room. Through the small glass window, he saw Grace sleeping peacefully. She looked thinner. Her hair had become almost completely gray. She suddenly looked much older than he remembered. The nurse walked over quietly. "Are you Ethan?" He nodded. The nurse smiled gently. "Your mother talks about you every day. She says you're the greatest achievement of her life." Ethan lowered his head. Tears rolled down his face. For the first time, he realized something that had been true all along. While he had been busy building his future, his mother had quietly given everything to build his. Ethan sat beside his mother's hospital bed. The room was quiet. Only the soft sound of the heart monitor could be heard. Grace slowly opened her eyes. When she saw Ethan, she smiled. "You came." Ethan held her hand. "Of course I came. I'm sorry it took me so long." Grace gently squeezed his hand. "You don't have to say sorry. I knew you were busy." Those words made Ethan feel even worse. The doctor came into the room. "Your mother will recover," he said. "But she needs to rest. No more working 2 jobs. No more long hours. Ethan looked surprised. 2 jobs? The doctor nodded. She never stopped. She worked mornings at the bakery and cleaned offices every evening. Her body became too tired. After the doctor left, Mrs. Wilson arrived with a small wooden box. I think your mother wanted you to have this someday. Grace smiled softly. I forgot all about that box. Ethan opened it carefully. Inside were old photographs. His school drawings. Birthday cards. Tiny football medals. And dozens of folded pieces of paper. Each paper had a date. Ethan opened the first one. Today Ethan took his first step. I was so proud that I cried. He opened another. Ethan started school today. He looked so brave, but I cried after he left. Another note said, Today Ethan said he wants to become someone who helps people. I hope all his dreams come true. There were hundreds of memories. His mother had saved every important moment of his life. Ethan could no longer hold back his tears. A week later, Grace returned home. She was still weak, but she was happy to sleep in her own bed again. Ethan took 2 weeks off from work. Every morning, he prepared breakfast. He cleaned the house. He watered the flowers in the garden. In the evenings, he cooked dinner. One afternoon, Grace smiled. You don't have to do all this. Ethan smiled back. I know. I want to. Grace looked at him with warm eyes. You've grown into a good man. Ethan shook his head. I became a good man because of you. Grace laughed softly. You always knew how to make me smile. A few days later, Ethan noticed something hanging on the kitchen wall. It was an old calendar. Every Sunday had a small red heart drawn on it. Mum, Ethan asked, why are there hearts on every Sunday? Grace smiled. Those were the days I hoped you would call. Ethan looked at the calendar in silence. Some Sundays had a heart. Some had a small smiley face. Others had nothing at all. He understood. The smiley faces were the Sundays when he called. The empty days were the Sundays he forgot. Without saying a word, Ethan hugged his mother. I'm sorry. Grace gently patted his shoulder. My dear. You're here now. That's enough. Before returning to the city, Ethan made an important decision. He spoke with his manager. Instead of working in the city 5 days a week, he asked to work from home several days each month. His manager agreed. From then on, Ethan visited his mother every weekend. Sometimes they baked cakes together. Sometimes they watched old family videos. Sometimes they simply sat in the garden with cups of tea. One sunny afternoon, Grace asked, "Do you remember the sandwiches I packed when you left home?" Ethan laughed. "I told you I wasn't a little boy anymore." Grace smiled. "You'll always be my little boy." This time, Ethan didn't laugh. He smiled. I know. And I'll always be proud to be your son. Years later, Ethan became a father himself. The first time he held his newborn daughter, he finally understood. He understood the sleepless nights, the endless worry, the quiet sacrifices, the unconditional love. That evening, he called his mother. "Mum." "Yes?" "Thank you for everything." There was silence for a moment. Then Grace answered softly, "I've been waiting a long time to hear those words." As children, we often believe our parents will always be there. We think there will always be another phone call, another visit, another birthday. But time moves quietly. The people who love us grow older. Their hair becomes gray. Their steps become slower. So don't wait for the perfect moment. Call your mother. Visit your parents. Say thank you. Because love is not only something we feel. Love is something we show. Every single day. Remember, a mother's love asks for very little. Sometimes, all she wants is to hear your voice. Thank you for listening to today's English story. Keep listening, keep speaking, and keep learning English, one story at a time. See you in the next lesson. Please subscribe to watch more story on Learn All About English.